At this time, we want to once again open the floor for our Q&A session. We will start off with some of the questions that actually came from the webinar platform. Mr. James, the first question we have, in light of more than one institution having to face the reality of COVID, as you mentioned, are there any plans for MIC to embark on collaborations to help in the creation of digital media?
I think, and it's a good question. I think MIC is part of a government institution, is one of the government institutions, and so whatever we develop, I think we are always willing and ready to share, as I have this afternoon. So it's just to reach out to us, and I think we'll be willing to share whatever information we have and how you can go about setting up an online or distancing platform. One of the things that they have to bear in mind is that the ICT component of this, you have to have a strong ICT component to support the online distance learning, something that maybe I did not mention earlier, but you must be cognizant of that. It's not just a computer and you're ready to go. The ICT aspect of it is crucial.
Excellent. Another question that we have here, what has been the experience in terms of you all assessing the skills attained through these new online platforms?
Well, we have not gone fully into the online training for students. What we have done is we have done some mock exercises with our instructors, because it's all in preparedness. Our students are still at home until September. I think that is when the Prime Minister had given his approval for students to return. So they're still at home, but so far we're trying, and we are doing some online training with them. It's not in its full entirety, but we're doing that, and what we are seeing is that it's proven to be very effective in terms of what we have done so far. It's proven to be very effective, and the students, and I will say the millenniums, they adapt so easily to this that what I might struggle with, they are quickly adjusting and showing me new ways of how to do it better, and so I find that is so encouraging for the whole system. When you have young people able to use the phone and the iPads and the notepads and the computer so efficiently, they adapted this very quickly.
Yeah. Very good. Another question in terms of how has the COVID reality impacted the efforts towards finding apprenticeship, traineeship opportunities?
In fact, it has dampened our system in that when COVID came along, we were almost 75% into our curriculum delivery, and so we had a further 25% aspect to continue and deliver, and so it threw everything off. And what we have done is that we said that from the new term, September, we're going to extend our training. So if you're a year one student and you didn't finish your coursework for year one, you will, from September, you'll continue from where you left off, and you'll run for a semester. So our new intake date, which would normally be at the start of the financial year, which is around September, October, is now going to be in January. So we're now going to take a new cohort in January as opposed to September. So we are using this September to December semester period to pick up from where we left off and to refine and carry out exams for those students who were at home.
Thank you for that answer. Another question here. Can you describe the systems or mechanisms that MICIT has employed to audit the use of these new online modes of learning to better ensure that there is accountability in the teaching learning process?
Right. So what we've done is we've set up teams. And so we have a team for teaching and learning, a development team. And that comprises curriculum specialists, persons, IT specialist persons, training specialist persons. All of those are specialist people in their own field, highly qualified academically and otherwise. And so this team now, all the information passes through this team. And in that team, there's quality control. And so they monitor, and I think I mentioned this earlier, they monitor to see that the content that you're going to put online, before it's uploaded onto the system, it goes through a quality check to ensure that it meets our standard, so that when it reaches the platform online, it would have met our standard for delivery.
Another question we have here. How has the COVID reality impacted the efforts to, what systems has MICIT employed to ensure that the various types of instruction required to develop competencies using the various approaches that you highlighted in your presentation?
Well, again, we meet as teams. We have different types of teams that will handle different aspects of the whole process. Now, what we've done like a project management approach. So we assess the people input, we assess the technology input, and we assess the process input. So when you look at the people input, all those involved in the process and teaching and learning, what is required of them, what information or knowledge do they need to have, right? And so that influences how you're going to carry out your process and what technology you're going to use for facilitating that. So using a kind of project management approach to it, we assess people, the people side of it, we assess the technology that is required, and we assess the process that is required for delivery of that. So there's an assessment of these three components, disaggregated, listing out all the elements that you would need to run a system like this, and then set in motion some schedules and some timelines, and apply resources to it for implementation. So that is how we set out our system, and we are doing that right now in terms of our implementation of the system.
Excellent. One of the participants was asking, in terms of tacit knowledge, how have you all been able to bridge the gap in terms of ensuring that the tacit knowledge is encouraged or facilitated in terms of the new online platform?
It's a difficult thing to say at this point, because we have not really done an assessment of it at this stage. But in the coming months, when we have students in, we have already set in motion various surveys, to be conducted, so that we could collect the data. And so when we collect the data, we'll analyze it and then make a recommendation on whether it's working or it's not working. So we're using that type of approach for determining that.
Excellent. Someone wanted to know, in the context of virtual simulation, as you mentioned with the welding simulators, are there any plans to expand to the other occupational areas? And they gave examples like the electrical, the mechatronics, the hydraulics, pneumatics, and some of those other areas.
Yes, in fact we already have a partial systems for some of these areas. Not full virtual, but partial. I know the simulation softwares that we use. For instance, I think in one of these slides, you have seen someone holding an iPad of simulating, and in the background was a turbine.
Excellent.
Right. So we have that kind of system,
Augmented
for augmenting the reality of the training for students to get access to. So in electrical, you find that you can do that. You can have a circuit design on your system, and you can put faults in it. And the student now can go in and correct the fault. And if he corrects the fault, the circuit runs. So you can have that taking place online with the students as part of the whole online delivery project. So yes, we do it in electrical, we do it in pneumatics, hydraulics, refrigeration, welding, some form of machining, not all. Like for instance, the CNC computer numerical control machining, we do it. We also have some form of that taking place. But again, MIC, this COVID-19 took us by surprise. And so we and all have to do some catching up with the first world. I mean, it's the fourth industrial revolution, and the first world is so advanced to what we have here in Trinidad that we have to do some catching up with our, in fact, in our schools and colleges, we have to catch up with industry. Industry tend to set the pace for technology use. If you only want to see technology, you gotta go NASA, and you will see the kind of technology they're using when manufacturing a automated manufacturing plant, and you see the kind of technology, and that influences what we should adapt to in our training system, how we should prepare our students, because at the end of the day, they go out to do that world of work, and they have to interface with those instruments and those equipment. So it's our responsibility as a trainer to ensure that we are always cognizant of what is taking place in industry and bringing that to our training, right? And MIC has always practiced this. We always carry out tracer studies on our students to see how they're doing. We always carry out industrial studies to see what new technology is out in industry, and we try to acquire it or put it into our training or update our curriculum to adjust to these new technologies.
Excellent. Another question we have here: how long did MIC IT take to develop the online training system as you all have it in place today, as it is today?
Well, it's a work in progress, but I think we are far advanced because we have done we're currently using that same system for training our instructors, and we have 250 instructors accessing the training from home. Some who don't have the resources, the infrastructure resources, some who don't have internet or don't have a computer system. What we have done, we have set up at the center computer labs. And so they will come to the center and do the training at the same time. So no one is left behind. None of our instructors are left behind. So if you don't have a computer at home, you come to the center and you have access to that training at the center. And we have been running the system, and so far, what we have observed is that there are just minor glitches. So it raises the point of the standardization of the platform, the softwares. You need to standardize because some people have different versions of softwares that may not be compatible with what you are uploading for them, and the ability to access it on a word processing platform. So just those little kinks, I would call it, little kinks in the system. But what we have done, we've set up a IT help desk. And so that IT help desk, all of the staff have that contact number and email address that they can contact the IT from the time they have a problem at home. They can contact them, and the IT technician will sort them out, right? So ensure that they have full online access.
As you make mention of this level of support that MIC is putting in place to help the candidates, a question that comes along here: what mechanisms have been put in place to help deal with persons who may have literacy and numeracy issues?
That's a tough one. Something really I think we considered, but I know in the past through our program at the high program, we have a numeracy and literacy aspect of the program for you to get to the level of reading and writing and arithmetic. So I think, as the question is raised, I think I'll consider it. We'll probably have to put things in place for those students who don't have that level of literacy to accept an online learning mode. But our mode will be to teach them in literacy and numeracy. Maybe bring them in a specialized class at the center and do that.
Thank you for your answers. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the Q&A session for this afternoon. I wish to thank the presenters from today for their insights and knowledge shared with us throughout today's sessions. It is indeed my pleasure to have been able to moderate this particular session, and we look forward to seeing you back for tomorrow's session. Thank you once again for joining us for TVET convention.